Can you just explain what is this tax reform bill? Like, how is it going to affect me as an average everyday person?
Well, I would first of all tell you this is a win for the middle class. Secondly, it's a win for businesses, whether you're a Main Street business or small business or you're a large business. And thirdly, it's a win for the economy. Let me just tell you, for middle class Americans, they feel like they've been left out. They've had their taxes raised at the state level. They've been working hard, playing by the rules, raising their family, and they continue to see their wages go down and no tax cuts. And what we do in this bill is we target the middle class, and we say we are going to cut taxes on you so that you have more money in your pocket. Today, 50% of America lives paycheck to paycheck. And what we've said is we want to put more money into those paychecks, more money in the pockets of middle-class folks so they can save up for education for their children, so they can save up to buy a new car, or maybe they can save up for a mortgage. And that's what we focus on in this bill. The second part is we want to get the economy roaring again, and we've had a stagnant economy. We believe tax cuts on the Main Street business in Peoria, Illinois, or whether it's Caterpillar or somewhere in between. We believe when you give a tax break to businesses, it's going to create more jobs, more economic opportunities. They're going to be more likely to hire 2 or 3 new people, put that money into wages, or invest in the community. Right now, we have a tax code that is very restrictive. It is the highest tax code in the entire industrialized world. And so for a long time, we've incentivized companies and businesses to go overseas, or we've restricted them in the United States, and so they didn't feel like they could expand, and we changed that here. Remember, we have not had comprehensive tax reform in 31 years, and so it's been a long time. And so a lot of effort went into this, but really we focus on more jobs, more take-home pay, and making a stronger economy.
Well, I want to stop you right there, Congressman. So Speaker Paul Ryan discussed that this is going to possibly yield up to $1,200 a year for savings for, a family of 4. Is that really going to make a dent in people living paycheck to paycheck?
Oh, absolutely. I think putting more money in the pockets of people that have been working hard is a good thing. And for a family of 4 making $59,000 per year, giving them an extra $1,200, that's a lot of money. And that's, again, that affects everybody. And we, again, always have to be cognizant of people that are out there working hard. We also, in this tax bill, we incentivize a couple things. We increase the tax credit for the child having additional children, the child tax credit. We also exempt people from the estate tax. The standard deduction, which affects everybody, we give a tax break on that. So, again, the average family of 4 in our district is going to save around $1,200, and it could be more depending on how many children you have. But we have put a focus, again, on the middle class. If you look in this tax bill, the tax rate on the highest or the richest in this country remains exactly the same. So we are not getting the tax cut to the rich, as you'll hear on the other side. We are focused on the middle class and on businesses. And remember, by slashing the taxes on businesses, most businesses in this country are Main Street or small businesses that create a lot of jobs. So maybe you're the corner grocery store in Morton, or maybe you're a retail store in Metamora, or maybe you're a plumbing company in Peoria. We cut your taxes down to about 25%. They're currently at about 39%. Talk to any business about tax cuts, and they'll tell you, what does that tax cut go into? It goes into hiring more people, reinvesting in the company, giving higher wages. Those are all things that will help get the economy roaring again. We need a robust economy.
Now, I've just got to play devil's advocate here, Congressman. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but for an average household of 4, $1,200 a year boils down to about $100 a month. Where is that difference coming in?
Well, that money that goes into their pocket, and again, that's extra money that goes back to things they can spend in the community. That can go into saving up for, again, a new car, or saving up for a mortgage, or saving up for their children's education. We're rewarding the middle class for, remember, they have been out there struggling and seen their taxes raised in the state of Illinois. They've seen higher and higher expenses. What we're saying is we are going to focus on putting more money in their pockets to incentivize them for the hard work that they've engaged in. The middle class in this country really has been left out over the last 10 or 15 years, and we want to focus on that. And we believe this will help with growth, with getting the economy going, and giving more people more of their hard-earned money.
Absolutely. Okay, so I've seen this number floating around that this tax reform bill will add several $1 trillion to our country's debt. So the question on everyone's mind is who is paying for this? So who is going to be the person that loses with this tax reform bill?
Well, we think the entire economy and is going to benefit from this. Again, this is a win for the middle class, it's a win for the economy, and it's a win for businesses. That's the way I would describe it. In terms of the deficit, yes, we always have to be concerned about the deficit. We're $20 trillion in debt. But from my perspective, you get rid of that debt by a combination of things. You have to have a roaring economy. Tax cuts help get the economy going, not at 1% growth, but the estimates are with tax cuts, we'll have an economy at 3 or 4% growth. The second thing you have to do is have fiscal restraint. We just passed a budget in the House that balances the federal budget over 10 years. We have to have spending cuts. You have to have fiscal discipline in the federal government and stop spending. So it's a combination of things. But if you go back and look at the last time we had an economy at 4% growth was 1999. When we had 4% growth in this country, we brought our deficit down to zero. Currently, we're $20 trillion. So under our tax plan, we'll have more people working, more people paying taxes, and we're on track to have a growth rate of 3 or 4%. That's good for everybody. That brings down the debt. We hold the line on spending. That gets us to a balanced budget over the next 10 years, and that's what we need to focus on. But there is no doubt that will take discipline within our federal spending that we have to stay focused on.
So what I'm hearing is this is going to again incentivize companies to keep their businesses here and hire people in our country as opposed to going overseas, which is going to in the long run create jobs and allow people to have more money to go back in their pockets. But since it is going to be sinking the country in debt, how are we making this money back? I mean, who are the people who are, is this going to have an effect on people's savings plans? How is this going to affect the pocketbooks of everyday Americans? Because I do think there must be some portion of this that's good. We're going to have to take a small hit on the front end. Can you talk about that?
Well, again, we don't we keep the tax rate on the rich at the same level, so they're not getting a tax break. So they're going to be paying the same amount they're paying. Again, when you look at mortgages, right? We don't the mortgage interest deduction, which is part of this tax bill, doesn't affect anybody that has a mortgage of $500,000 or less. So that's almost 80% of the people in our district that live in Peoria have a mortgage less than that. So it doesn't affect that. We don't touch 401ks. We focus on, again, child tax credit for people that are having children. Focus on the standard deduction, which affects every middle-class family. And again, focus on giving a tax break to people in the middle class. That's what we focus on. And on the business side, when we talk about creating jobs, again, when you lower the business rate on a Main Street business, what that will mean is that's money that will get reinvested into the economy by, again, hiring more people, maybe buying a new piece of equipment, maybe buying a new car or a new truck, goes back into the economy. And let me just talk on the broader sense. The corporate tax rate comes down to 20%. So a company like Caterpillar can then repatriate money. Right now, it's estimated there's $3 trillion parked overseas, countries like Ireland and England and even in Canada, because the corporate tax rate currently in England is at 17%, Ireland is at 14%, Canada is at 22%. When we lower our corporate tax rate to 20%, that means $3 trillion will get repatriated back to the United States. We think that is a good thing. That is money that will come back and, again, go into wages, go into reinvestment, go into hiring more people. That is all good for the economy. So, again, this is a win for the middle class. It's a win for the economy, and it's a win for businesses all across the country.
So is it safe for me to report that nobody loses in this proposal, and if this passes, which Trump is predicting by Christmas, that nobody will have to pay higher taxes?
Yeah, I mean, listen, in every state is different. So, we give a state and local taxes are different in New York, in New Jersey, and California. So it depends on what state you're from. But in our congressional district in central and west central Illinois, the vast majority of people, I would say over 90%, are going to benefit from this. And that's the middle class. That makes up the bulk of our district. And that's what we focused on, giving middle class folks a tax cut and incentivizing businesses to invest more, hire more people, and increase their wages. Talk to any business, again, across our district, they're going to benefit from this. And so, again, that's the focus. We think it'll get the economy roaring and booming, and that'll be good for all of us.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to be happy to hear that 90% are saving money, but who are the 10% that are going to be paying higher taxes? Who are these people?
Well, I mean, listen, the rich aren't going to get a tax break because they're paying the same amount. 39.6 is the percentage that the wealthiest people in this country pay. That does not change. They're not going to get that tax break that the middle class is going to get.
So basically, for middle class, it's going down. For upper class, it's staying the same, and they're going to continue to pay. So no one is actually losing. It's just not going to be shifting for those who are making more money.
Correct. That's the focus we put on. And I would tell you for the tax rate or the percentage for lower middle class people and the working poor, I mean, their percentage goes down too. So they're going to benefit from this also. And again, from the broader perspective, businesses are going to be in a better position to hire more people and invest in the economy. They're going to be able to create more jobs, increase wages. Right now, our economy is stagnated, and we've had really what I would describe as a convoluted tax code, a very complicated tax code. This helps make it easier to file your taxes and makes it less cumbersome and brings relief to lower and middle class folks. And we think it'll have a dramatic effect on the economy. And it's been too long since we've had comprehensive tax reform.
Do you think if this passes, it'll lead to further tax reform?
Listen, I think a lot of work has gone into this enough. I think if we pass this bill, it will have a real effect on the economy. And again, will benefit the middle class, will benefit the lower middle class, and help get the economy thriving again. I think if we do this and it gets executed the way that it should, I don't think we'll have to do tax reform for a long time.
Well, then I'm confused. If this is meant really targeting to assist the working middle class, why are people upset about it? What seems to be the big fuss about this whole tax reform bill?
Well, the problem is Democrats don't want to see anything the Republicans put forth to pass. Remember, Democrats don't complain when they want to spend more of your money, but now that you want to cut taxes, you're hearing a lot of complaints from them. And again, look at the details. This helps the middle class. It's hard to argue with giving a tax break to the middle class. And so, unfortunately, you're going to have partisan Democrats and people on the other side. They're going to want to demonize this. But again, look at the details. Look at the analysis of it. We're helping the middle class. And if you put politics aside, people will realize this is good for the American people. It's good for our congressional district. And again, the middle class needs a break, which they have not had over the last 15 or 20 years.
All right, Congressman. So to wrap this up, I just want to make sure I am completely clear when I say this. You know, middle class families will not see any of their savings account or any sort of bank account affected by this. This is not going to harm their accounts in any way.
This does not touch 401k accounts at all, which had been talked about before. Again, this focuses on giving a tax break to middle-class folks and also on incentivizing and helping people that have families or raising families. And then on the business side, giving businesses, small, medium, and large businesses, a tax break to incentivize them, again, to hire more people, invest in their companies and businesses, and hire more people.
Well, we're highlighting the 401k savings plan not being touched. Is there another account that could be touched or affected, even in the least?
No, absolutely not. Nope, not at all. And I will also tell you, we have a lot of agriculture families in our district, and the death tax is eliminated. You talk to any family farm, it's hard to pass down a family farm because you get taxed on it twice. When whoever owns the farm is deceased, you got to pay tax on that. We eliminate the death tax, which allows family farms to pass that down from generation to generation. We think that will help with our agriculture community and incentivize people to carry on with family farming. We think that's, again, another way. But to answer your question, there is nothing else in there related to savings that is affected by our tax plan. It's just the opposite. We are, again, putting more money in the pockets of middle-class folks because those are the ones that need it most and have struggled.
And we've now gone from 7 tax brackets to 3. Am I correct on that?
4.
4. Now, 4 being the highest. You sort of have to be like a Bill Gates, correct?
Yep. So, yeah, the highest tax rate, we go from 4 to 7. We simplify the tax code that way. And, again, the highest tax bracket is 39.6%. That's anybody making over $1 million will be taxed at that level, and that remains exactly the same.
So less tax brackets, you think, allows for a more level playing field?
Oh, it does, and it simplifies things. And, again, we broaden the middle class by going from 7 down to 4, and that's where the middle class is going to benefit from.